Góðan daginn allir. Nú erum við hérna hana Leslie Ramírez sem ætlar að fara aðeins yfir hérna Azure Fundamentals og MS Learning og segja okkur aðeins frá því og vonandi lærum við eitthvað aðeins það og hérna hún er svona tiltölulega nývöknuð klukkan 6 hjá henni. Þannig að það er svolítið mikill tímamunur. En allavega bara Leslie, welcome. Thank you for giving us your time and doing this for us. We are very thankful for this. And yeah, I'm giving you the torch. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here today. Thank you for joining us. Today, we're going to talk about Azure Fundamentals and Microsoft Learn. So, hello, everyone, again. Thank you for joining us. My name is Leslie. I'm from the Dominican Republic. It's really early right now, but I'm really excited to be here to share with all of you about the Azure Fundamentals and plus Microsoft Learn. Whenever I talk about Azure and this path of cloud, I like to talk about Microsoft Learn because this is a really good tool for us to get started into cloud fundamentals. And if you wish, you can get your certification into Azure Fundamentals. So that's why I really try to join these two topics to make sure you have the tools to get started. So what we're going to do today, we're going to have an introduction to cloud computing. We're going to know why Azure. Also, we're going to have hands-on Azure. And finally, our next steps that are related to Microsoft Learn. So before we get started, I'm going to introduce myself a little bit. I'm a Microsoft MVP in the Developer Technologies category. I'm backend-oriented developer specialized in .NET Framework. I started to write code in .NET in this environment by 2015. And I started my adventure in C# technologies, and I adopted and continue to use in my work environment as well. I really like to learn new things and sharing with others, like in these events. I'm also the author of the blog, dominicatic.com. That is a blog in Spanish for sharing content to the people of my community. But also, I like to blog in Medium or in English also to make sure this content is available to more people. So now we should get started about the concept of what is cloud computing. It's really curious because for people who had a good imagination and sometimes wants to get fun about what cloud computing is, sometimes people try to, when think about it at first, think in something like this. But what is cloud computing? It's the delivery of computing services over the internet. That's what we know as cloud. These services include storage, service, database, networking, software, analytics, intelligence cloud, and other services. When we're using the cloud, we have a lot of flexible resources that we can use based on our necessities, based on what we need, and also based on the cost we can pay. So cloud delivery is the delivery of computing service over the internet by using the pay-as-you-go pricing model. So you typically pay only for the things or the services you are using. That's really helpful because you can lower your operation costs, run your infrastructure more efficiently, and sometimes you don't have all the resources to start big. So the cloud offers you the opportunity to start with less and scale as your business needs to change. So we have now a really big question. Why Azure? Azure helps us to achieve our goals with the freedom and flexibility to build and manage and deploy our applications anywhere. You use your preferred language, framework, and infrastructure. Even your own data centers and other clouds to solve challenge for large and small companies. It's really important to know that we have a lot of options available in Azure, and we will learn a little bit more about this by the following of this presentation. So, if we go into Azure, if you see this image, we have a lot of things right here, a lot of useful information that we can use to know about how our services are working. And this can be a little bit overwhelming at the first time if you don't know a lot of how it works. But when you'll be able to create and to explore the Azure cloud, you will learn more about it, and it will be easier to you to figure out how to work with all those things. So as I mentioned before, with cloud computing, we can access to the different services and over like networking, server, storage, and a lot of things. The cloud provider as Azure, such as Azure, for example, instead of storing our personal information and everything on our computer, we have the availability to do it on cloud services. And it could be less expensive, more secure and reliable, and also flexible than on-premise servers. So Azure is a expanding set of cloud computing services to help you to meet your business challenge and give you the freedom to build, manage, and deploy applications to a massive global network. So one of the misconceptions that I have to talk with people sometimes is that people think or consider that Azure is just for .NET environment, like it's just for Windows friendly. But the reality is with Azure, you have options. When you're looking at the cloud platform, the first thing you want to make sure that if you can build in your preferred tools and language on your devices. With Azure, we have plenty of options available. Like we can work in Linux, Python, Java, Node.js, Docker, Android, and many more. And one important information is around 50% of virtual machines run on Linux. That's a really important thing to say because, people usually think, oh, it's Azure Cloud. Maybe I can not run on Linux, or I will have a lot of limitations because it's from Microsoft. And here we have plenty of options based on our needs. So you can also use open source tools like Kubernetes, clusters, and Azure containers, and Azure supports Docker too. And of course, a GitHub platform based on DevOps. But we will see more of that information when we're going to our dashboard. So the point is you have choices that help you to maximize your existing investments, that if you're going to get started in Azure, you don't need to change your main stack for working on that. You will have all the infrastructure support for working on the stacks or the tools that you like to work with. So you don't have to worry about that because there is already available in there. So the next thing that we're going to talk today is about Azure fundamentals. But this is going to be more general concepts of cloud based on our Azure cloud. So the first thing that we're going to discuss today is the cloud deployment models. We have 4: public cloud, private cloud, community cloud, and hybrid cloud. Well, we're going to focus on public, private, and hybrid. The thing is, public cloud services are available over the network for public use. These services are based on shared cost model, customers do, and have control over the location of the infrastructure. We also have the private cloud. This refers to a cloud infrastructure exclusively used by a single organization. In private cloud, resources could be physically located at the organization data centers or could be hosted by a third-party cloud service provider, but it's just used for that organization. That resources will be managed by the organization itself, or it could be managed by the third-party provider. But these have a disadvantage. The private clouds are more expensive than public clouds, and of course, offers better control over the customization of your infrastructure. And also we have hybrid cloud that are the combination of public and private cloud deployment models. It makes use of interconnected public and private cloud infrastructure provided. And it's really useful for organizations because have the benefits of both. Organizations can use a hybrid cloud to balance out the cost of the ownership over the control of the infrastructure. For example, maybe they want to use public cloud for high volume data, and for really sensitive data, they will use the private cloud infrastructure to make sure their information are more secure in there. And we have community cloud. We're not going to focus that, but let's talk a little bit about it. This deployment model refers to a cloud infrastructure shared between multiple organizations belonging to a particular community, like universities, banks, governments, and other things like that. So we know by now we have the most important cloud deployment models: public, private, and hybrid. So the next thing that we're going to talk is about our different types of services at the cloud. We have 3 types of services: software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. I'm going to start by infrastructure as a service. This cloud service model is the closest to managing physical service. The cloud provider will keep the hardware up to date, but the operating system, the network configuration is up to the people to get this service. For example, we have Azure virtual machines that are fully operational devices running in Microsoft data centers, and you have to configure everything of it. We have platform as a service, that is a cloud service model that is a managed hosting environment. That is for me, the more easy to use and useful as a developer, because I'm not really into infrastructure kind of things. But platform as a service is really good for us as a developers. You can deploy your application really fast, really simple, and you have a lot of options to do it. And this Azure provides this service where developers can deploy their web applications without having to worry about the physical hardware and the software requirements. and all the configurations that implies the use of virtual machines. So I really like that. The last one we have is software as a service. Is a cloud service model where the cloud provider manages all the aspects of the application environment, such as the virtual machines, networking, and the application. The only thing that the users or the cloud tenant, that's the way to call it calls. As a cloud tenant, the only thing that I can do is create an account and use the application managed by the cloud provider. One simple example of that is Microsoft Office 316 that provide a fully working version of Microsoft Office that runs in the cloud. So for giving this a little bit more of information, we have here an image of the services classified by the cloud service type. As a platform services, we have application platform, developer service, as Xamarin, application insights. In application platform, we have one of my favorites, like web apps and functions. So it's really useful. And also we have code framework, analytics, compute service, and a lot more. In the model of infrastructure service, we have virtual machines, containers, in part of the storage, networking, load balancers, DNS, traffic manager, and all of that stuff that we're supposed to manage if we take this service cloud model, so a computing service. So the things we are going to manage depending of the cloud service that we choose. In on-premise, we have to manage everything from the application, from networking, servers, storage, virtualization. For infrastructure as a service, you just have to manage from the operating system to application. All the topics like virtualization servers are managed by the cloud provider. In platform as a service, you should be worried just by your data and your application. And the last one, that is software as a service, you don't have to worry about anything. You just have to create your account, do your payment, and everything's going to be working for you. So, not sure right now if virtualized environment or cloud infrastructure. So let's talk a little bit more about the benefits of using cloud. The first one is the cost reduction. That's really important because when we're going to start a new project, maybe a pet project for you or in a small company, you don't have all the resources to have your dream infrastructure. So the cloud gives you the availability to start by paying just for what you're using. And in the future, if your needs change, you can adjust that. So that's why we have scalability. The apps in cloud can scale vertically and horizontally. The difference is with the vertical escalation, you just add more, you increase the compute capacity of your resources, like adding RAM or maybe a CPU to your virtual machine to make more able to work with your complex operations in your application. And with horizontal scalability, sorry, you have the option to add more nodes to your environment that you have your infrastructure in cloud to make possible have replication and fault toleration. So you add more instances of resources, such as adding virtual machines to the configuration to make sure these meet your necessities. And also, we have the benefit of elasticity. You can configure your cloud-based app to take advantage of this by always having the resources that you need. And when you don't need that resource, just put it off because you don't want to be charged for something that you're not using. Also, we have a lot of other benefits of using cloud, like the agility of for the deployment and configuration of cloud-based resources. You have just distribution when you can deploy apps and data to regional data centers around the globe. Maybe you should know that Azure has a lot of regions around the world, so you can have the best performance in the region. Also, we have the benefit of disaster recovery by taking advantage of backup services and data replication and your distribution to make sure that your data is safe even when the disasters happen. Also, we have other tools to get more advantage of our cloud services. Like for the cost reduction, we have this tool that is the Azure Pricing Calculator. This is a tool that allows to make easy to customers to see, based on their needs, what are the estimation of the cost of all the services they're going to use in the cloud. It may reduce some changes if you see the cost over budget, for example. It's totally free, web-based tool that allows you to enter all the services that you want, modify them as you need, and it gives you as an output the cost per service and total cost of the full estimation. This is before you get started, but if you already into Azure and you have your services, you also count with the Azure Cost Management. This is an Azure product that provides a set of tools to monitor, allocate, and optimize Azure costs. You can have reporting by using historical data to the forecast of future usage and expenses. You can have data enrichment by improve your accountability, by categorizing your resources with the tags when you're creating your new resources to make sure when you're having your billing, you can see all the cost of all of your services. Also, you can create a budget for monitoring the resource, the demand trends, consumption rates, and cost patterns, and create some alerts to receive based on your cost and your usage budget. Even you have recommendations to eliminate resources that are not useful for you and optimize the Azure resources you provision. It's free for Azure customers, so you can access with that when you create your Azure account without any extra cost, just for you. So what are our next steps? Like, we know what are the cloud fundamentals, why Azure, what are the different cloud services, but what we should do now. The first thing you have to do is create your Azure free account today. You're going to get started with 12 months of free services. Azure offers free and paid subscriptions options to suit different needs and requirements. If you have an student account, you can use it for free, and you don't have to register with your credit card. But if you're not, you can use your credit card, and you're not going to be charged for that. Also, it's important to know that you create your subscription as pay as you go that allow you to pay for what you are using. So you're not going to be charged by anything where So you have the option to create your account and just explore the services in the cloud without any problem. And also you have, for example, these products free for the first 12 months, like Windows virtual machines, manage disk, file storage, a support database, and more services. I just put in one example of some of them, but you can go to the Azure official page and you will see all the other free services that we're going to have. And also, we're going to have other services or products that are always free, like Azure Cosmos DB, Azure Bot Service, Kubernetes, Azure Functions with 1 million requests per month, and Azure App Service. So this is just one highlight of 6 of the services that are going to have for free, but there's a little bit more, so you can find it on the official page, and you will have more information about all the viable services on Azure Cloud that are free just for you. And right now, finally, we're going to talk about the tools we have to get started into Azure Cloud, fundamentals if you wish. For that, we have Microsoft Learn. I don't know if you heard about it or if you already use it, but it's a really good environment to get started with Azure and also other technologies, because there is in that page we have a lot of resources for different roles, certifications, and technologies. This is how it looks. Some of the latest courses, the resources if you want to become Microsoft certified, as I mentioned before, if you want to get more knowledge about all the Azure fundamentals, structure, and more important, the Microsoft Certified Azure Fundamentals. I got that certification, and I can say that all the student material that are there is really useful and is worthy to you to learn about it. So if you're going to, or you're interested in take this certification, for example, you may notice that the skill measures in this exam are describe cloud concepts, describe course Azure services, management tools on Azure, some cost management, and service level agreement. For today, we cover some of cloud concepts and Azure services, and also some general information about management tools on Azure. So if you want to get your certification, you can go to Microsoft Learn in the path for this exam, and you will see that we cover some of the information that we're going to need if you want to get the certification, and also all the paths around there is not that hard to you to figure it out and to get started in Azure. So right now I'm going to show you really quick how to do a little stuff in Azure. I'm going to the portal, to the Azure portal right now, and I'm going to share with you how easy and fast it is for us to get started in Azure. Give me one moment. And we're going to get started right now. All right. So I hope you can see my screen right now. I'm not sure if you can see it, but all right. So this is our Azure portal. We have here, as I mentioned before, the advisor for the cost, security, reliability, performance. And this is how it looks like. We have a list of all the resources that we have. Here, this is my my experimental resources that I create to learn more about Azure services, like, for example, application insights, app service plan, function apps that are really useful if you want to create a source of code that have some operation that you don't want to have in your application, for maybe not to affect the performance of the application itself. So it's really useful. For today, we're going to use one of my favorite resources in Azure, that is the app service. It's really easy for us to developer for deploying our applications to use this, because as you may see right now, we can create a app service that is part of the platform as a service that are available. We need our subscription. We create a resource group that allows us to have a codification of our resources, and if in the future we want to delete all the resources related to something based on the resource group, we can do it at once. Instead of deleting everything each by one, we can use the resource group and delete everything. So it's a really useful resource. For example, I'm going to put Azure demo as a resource group. It's going to check if I have another. Seems like not. And I'm going to use, I'm not really creative with the names, but I'm going to do it for today. Azure demo. We're going to select our runtime. I'm going to run it on Windows in the region Central US, but as you may see, we have a lot of here. And we have to choose our app plan. We can create one, or we can just use this that I have created. But for sake of this demo for today, I'm going to create. So I'm going to delete it later. So right now I create a new Windows app service plan for Windows Plan Central in this version, and I'm going to choose the size of this service plan. Here we're going to see all the options that we have. For example, for production slot, we have these characteristics. We have isolated for more professional, and for application that needs more resources. And the dev test, that is one that I use most of the time. We have this that is free, one with these specifications. We also have this one that have more capacity, and we can pay for it. But for now, it's not needed. I'm going to use the free one. So I'm going to keep deployment settings, continue settings. If I want to monitor my app, I want to create or enable my application inside. I'm going to create my tags that are really useful for the billing information of the plan. All right, I'm going to select. I'm going to put the services. And next, here we have all the information of our service that we created right now, like our estimation of price, the general details, and we're going to create. This is a really fast process. Here in the deployment portal, we can see how it's going, everything. If it's working, if it's in progress, if we have some issues, and we can also see when everything is ready for us. So let's give it a few minutes, and as you may see, the deployment is complete right now. So I'm going to go to my resource, and let's see what we have here. Of course, we don't have any request because this is a new resource. We have the location, we have the subscription, we can move if it's needed. We have this tag that we can use later to check all the information about billing, information about the cost of this service. And let's see what we find in this URL. Yay, our service is up and running. If I want to deploy my code, it's going to be seen right here with the URL of the name of the resource that I created. So this was really fast, as you may notice. And we can use this resource and go to Visual Studio and upload our application. The easy way, another easy way to do it is get our publish profile. That is a file, the JSON file with the information to publish in our service, and everything is going to be ready for us. We have a lot of options here. For example, the app service plan, if we want to change it. We have the quotas of our, based on our specifications. We have alerts if we need to. We have some support and troubleshooting, the app service advisor, for example. Right now, things are looking good, but maybe sometimes not. So we can use this tool. And also, for example, if we want to scale up our application, like, okay, I choose the free one, but I notice that it's a little bit slow, so I'm going to change for this one or this one, and we can apply it, and really fast and easy, we're going to scale up our service. So it's really easy for us to get the resources that we want and what we need for our necessities. And maybe if you just want to get started in Azure and learn more a little bit, put your hands on your services and learn more about what you can do with this. So this is, I just wanted to show you one simple creation of the service, but I'm really sure if you're curious about it, you're going to learn a little bit more and find another usable services to experiment and create awesome things on Azure as well. So thank you so much for being here, for sharing this time with me. These are my social handles and my user. If you want to follow me, if you have any questions, please use your time. Thank you so much for your attention, and that's it.
Yeah. Thank you very much. This was very informative, and hopefully this was helpful for a lot of people. And I myself is trying to finish Azure Architect certification right now, so I'm studying right now at home. So
All right. Really
anyhow, thank you for this, and hopefully we will see you in Iceland sometime.
Yes, I'm really happy to be here, as I mentioned before. And it's really nice to share with people around the world. I don't know how to pronounce your name. That seems really cool.
Eastly.
Easily. I don't know. But thank you so much for having me, and hope you have a really good day and stay warm around there.
Yeah. Thank you.